Hello, global Zcash audience, ZKAV clubbers all around the world. We are coming at you live from Berlin Blockchain Week. At the end of it, I'm Ryan Taylor.
I'm Squirrel.
And we are part of a small crew that has been powering a recording station at different events for 2 full weeks now, Berlin Blockchain Weeks. And it's been intense. Squirrel, what do you think? What's your takeaway?
Yeah, it's been a super fun time. Very interesting. Met some super interesting people. And yeah, it's been a long stretch. Hard work as well has gone into this by a whole team of people. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm really glad that you had fun while you're doing this. I think we all did. It was really a unique experience. First time I'd done anything this big and of this sort. So yeah, it was a lot of fun and a lot of work. Wanted to give some big thanks to the event organizers who opened their doors to us and allowed us to do this with strange approaching an event organizer and being like, yeah, we're some of you. We're just part of the community, and we want to record some stories in the community. And everyone was really welcoming and super excited. So huge thanks to the Funding the Commons organizers, Department of Decentralization, who organized Protocolberg, the Decentralized Media Summit, who asked us to live stream their stuff. Huge opportunity for us, and it worked out great. And then what we're going to get into today was DAPCON, which is organized by Gnosis and Circles and that whole crew. Massive event. It was 3 days long. And we got confirmation on that a couple of days before it started. So to the DAPCON crew, thank you for giving us this amazing spot in the garden and letting us do what we do. It was super cool. And then Zk Hack, they were incredibly receptive to us and opened up their doors to us, the opportunities to talk to some folks. We'll show some clips from both of these events, from DAPCON and from Zk Hack. In case you missed it, we did a live stream like this last Monday and showed clips from the first events that we were at during the first week of Berlin Blockchain Week.
More clips coming.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Also, thanks to the attendees that came and talked to us. None of this would be possible without the community. Can't have a community-powered recording station if the community isn't into it, and the community was really into it. A lot of people came up and talked to us about what we're doing, but a lot of people actually came and talked to us about what they're doing, which makes the whole thing. These interviews are real deep.
And yeah, a lot of people. So we took a lot of there's a lot of hours, many hours of recording, and yeah. So thank you again to the people who are willing to come on camera. We also had some cool discussions off camera as well. Just want to mention that a lot of cool stuff also happened off camera.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff happened off camera. We weren't filming the whole time. A lot of people came up and didn't want to get in front of the camera, but were interested in what they're talking about, and we had some really cool conversations that I think will lead to some deeper connections, future events, future collaborations. It's all really exciting stuff. Maybe we can I might publish some sort of blog post or something with a recap of everything that we did and more of the details about not necessarily who we talked to, but some of the stuff that happened off camera, some topics and things.
ZKAV.club.
Yeah, ZKAV.club. If you're into what we're doing, if you've been paying attention during Berlin Blockchain Week, or a friend told you that what we're doing is cool, or this is the first time you're hearing about us, ZKAV.club. You can find out more. We'll be updating the website soon, and we'll be publishing a bunch of videos on Internet Archive soon. So go there. You can follow us on all of our socials. Huge thanks to the Zcash community who funded this thing. Their donations will allow us to continue and do this at other events. We already have some really big plans for what to do with these donations to enable us to do future events. And yeah, massive thank you to Zcash community. We collected 190.75 Zek so far, the Zcash tokens, and it's just mind-boggling. The support that we got from the Zcash community, from our community, we're incredibly grateful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So I suppose we could talk about the crew that helped made all of this possible. We've got Robmar, who's been on the switching on the decks this whole time. Say hey. Hey. And there's been Zero Darts as well, who is like helping handle the cameras, keeping everything in focus, making sure we've got all the equipment, batteries charged. Like, support has been like absolutely vital. And we had John here. He's not around, but
yeah, we miss you, John.
We miss you. And of course Ryan, who been dealing with the organizers, coordinating with them, making sure we had the space, making sure all the sockets were sorted, interviewing people, and yeah, thank you to the full crew.
Yeah, you too, Squirrel. Like it was incredible having you here and your enthusiasm and the way you just engage with things, like with the lightning talks filming at Funding the Commons. Whenever a new opportunity came up and I thought, like, can this crew handle it? There was no hesitation or doubt that I could ask Squirrel or Zero Darts or John. Robmar was busy the whole time, so I didn't ask him to do anything else, and he did an amazing job. Someone actually told me that it was really calming to just see him behind the decks and see the way that he works with the confidence and joy of what he does. It's just phenomenal to see, and to be able to work in person with all of you.
For sure. And so I guess it's a good opportunity to just mention, if you are interested in doing things like this, going to events, like maybe doing some audio visual things, cool shielded cam experiments, like this entire club is like an experiment. Everything we do is experimental. So if you like that, if you're into that vibe, join the club. There's a Discord and there's a bridge to the ZKAV Discord if you can't get an invite. So yeah, discord.gg/Zcash and look for the Zk Audiovisual Club.
Yeah, definitely. Join the club if you're interested in participating, doing any of these activities with us. As I like to say, don't just watch. You can go to these events. You can just sit in the audience and watch the stuff. You can watch the live stream at home. But we have a lot of different activities to get involved with the content side of these live events, whether it's a live stream or a recording station. And yeah.
So just before we head into the clips, when is the next workshop or Foundry session for ZKAV Club?
Great question. So today's Sunday. I guess next Friday we'll have a live stream session of Foundry where we'll be showing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that we did for the recording station. In case you're not aware, Foundry is our roughly monthly live stream session that we do that takes the form of a salon, a panel discussion a lot of times, where we talk about different community building skills, techniques, tools that all use open source and decentralized technology for audiovisual production, whether it's editing videos, doing live translations, broadcasting with OBS. And this time around, we're going to dig into the recording station that we just did, because as a community building tool, this is incredibly powerful, and it's really kind of revolutionary. The feedback we were getting on it was just like minds blown, and the power of what this can do.
Yeah, it's a new thing, the recording station. I don't think the people that we met had kind of never seen anything like it. We did some interesting things. We experimented with Swarm, which is like decentralized file storage on using Ethereum, and yeah. That was during our discussion with the founder, Victor Tron, where we like demonstrated the use of his technology, his decentralized technology, in practice.
And this was just a few days after we went to the Decentralized Media Summit, which was amazing in the way that it combined journalism and decentralized technology, and then how decentralized technologies and the privacy properties of them specifically can help journalists do their job in a safer way. So it was really incredible to go to that summit, hear about the technologies a bit more from a philosophical angle, and then a few days later had this discussion with Victor Tron, who has been working on Ethereum since the beginning, working on Swarm, and just doing amazing work. Like the technical side of Swarm is incredible. I can't wait to watch the video. We did a real experimental live stream on it, and the way that it works is streaming to an RTMP server. So the first step is actually centralized, and then it gets decentralized from there This is until they have the node, the software that will run on the machine that's doing the live streaming, and then it'll access the decentralized network from there rather than a hosted server.
It didn't all go well.
Yeah, but that was because of the wires.
Right? The cables.
Yeah, it was because of the cables. Like, cables, it's an important thing to include in your kit if you're doing a recording station, but it's hard to account for everything. And never trust aux cables. Like, they did us wrong a few times in the last 2 weeks, and it's tricky. It's really tricky. So we also had like network problems. We were trying to live stream from a big event, which is tricky as well. Like the Wi-Fi that we were on, it was pretty congested. So we ended up using a different computer to live stream rather than the one that was hooked directly up to the audio board, and we ran an aux cable. Just mini jack cable from the soundboard into this other computer. Didn't really check the audio before we went on. And this was like on top of other challenges having to do with like the outdoor sound and microphones and things, headsets. So all of these complications, it didn't end up breaking anything. Like the Swarm stream audio is not great. It's really difficult to understand. But the brilliant thing is we were able to use the recording on the Rodecaster because we get clean audio recordings on the Rodecaster. And then some AI, I think it was Audacity. Robmar, did you use Audacity to do that? Or the
Dope.
audio on Victor?
Audacity.
It was Audacity?
Noise reduction.
The noise reduction.
Other tools, the AI.
Okay. Okay, so some other AI tools.
Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Noise reduction is great.
Yeah, it was really incredible. Like it will
It's too
release
good.
the audio. Yeah. So I'm excited because this gave us the opportunity to work with Swarm, to talk to Victor. Now that connection is made, and we'll be streaming a lot more to Swarm in its current form. And as soon as that node software is available, we're gonna be on it. Like give me the demons.
Yeah.
So this is really exciting. We're going to be working with this decentralized live streaming software from the beginning of it. And we're going to do a restream of this video, of this interview that Octahedron hosted for us, put together, organized for us. And we'll do a restream with the fixed audio. And it's going to be dope. And I can't wait. So there were some hiccups. This is to be expected. Like Murphy's Law is not completely accurate in this case because we didn't have any total disasters. Right. Everything roughly worked. But it's because I think we went into it with this mindset that this is an experiment. We don't really know what we're doing because like there's not much example to follow. So we're setting the example. We'll give you some tips. And first we'll show some clips.
Yeah.
I think. Awesome. One more shout out to Zcash for the crowdfunding. The Zek that we received will enable us to do more of this sort of thing. And we're also going to continue to keep these donation addresses open and talk about them because getting more funding to do post-production on this stuff would be pretty amazing. Like we have 20 to 30 interviews.
Yep.
Ranging from like 20 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes in the one case. It's a lot of footage. We have it pre-edited. Robmar is doing the switching up there. But as far as cutting clips, and if someone wants a recut of their thing, we have the recordings on some of the camera stuff. So yeah, post-production, this content can be turned into documentaries based on topics, themes, projects. There's a lot of potential there.
ZK summer documentary, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, that would be great because there's a lot happening this summer. There's also a lot happening in November with Argentina. The Dev Connect is down there. And then we're going to hopefully be making more footage in between and after. And it's just, there's a lot going on in the ZK space.
Yes.
Cool.
You're going to see a small portion of it in the upcoming clips.
Yeah. So let's get to it. The first clip that we have to show is from DAPCON, and they gave us this awesome space in the garden. We were working outside for 3 days, and it was like kind of heaven. It was nerd heaven.
Pretty much.
It was so great. So we had this really great spot in the garden, and at one point, Ann Brody walks up to us, and I was super excited. Ann Brody's a crowd favorite in the ZK space, coming from academia. So let's show a clip of the conversation that we had with Ann.
Yeah, well, I think, so one of the reasons why I was really interested in this space is because I'm very interested in alternatives and, alternative money structures, alternative political systems, and I think this is the reason why many of these people came here. They were also interested in alternatives and seeing what could work, and so this became like an experimental space where people could try out like different ideas, different concepts, like a playground, right? So they come with this sort of playful spirit that's also grounded in this hacker ethos, although much more or less today. You don't see the hacker ethos as much as it was in the beginning when I was just like starting out my research. But people are still, they're curious. They want to find alternative paths to how we do money or how we do governance, and that's what I found personally excited. That's kind of where I saw the academia and the industry sort of find their common ground. One of the things I've been trying to do is to sort of bridge this gap between academia and industry and get those two worlds to talk to each other, because I feel like there's a lot that we can learn from each other, and we don't really have that dialogue going because crypto people have their own conception of academics, their own vision of what academics are. Like, academics are sort of in their ivory tower, not very engaged and not practical. And academics, obviously, they have their own perceptions of crypto people as these libertarians. And so one of the things I've been trying to dispel on both sides is, in fact, like hackers, right? So my background is actually in hacker studies. Like hackers, crypto people are a diverse set of individuals. There's many different strands of libertarian, different values. Some are more inclined on maybe like the progressive side of politics. Maybe some are more like right-leaning, but it's very diverse, and we can't put them all into like this one framework and one conception. And likewise, academics like me, I've also worked in the industry. I've worked with different startups, and I like to keep engaged. I like to also kind of contribute my theoretical knowledge to the actual building and development. So I hope that's where I've been able to add value.
So what we were doing basically at these events was set up our whole recording studio, all the equipment, and then we had a big whiteboard that was magnetic, and we wrote on the whiteboard, come talk to us, tell us your stories, record your podcasts, and we had a sign-up sheet next to it. It took us a day or so to figure out this would work.
Yep. The whiteboard made a big difference. Before we had it, I think people just saw all the recording equipment and the lights and thought that, we're a professional studio and everything, all the people we see have reserved well in advance, and just wasn't the case. It was a completely open thing. If people wanted to speak to us, they could just walk up and sit on the couch. Yeah,
and it worked really well. Like, once we had the whiteboard, then people felt comfortable. Sometimes they would come up and they'd be reading the whiteboard, but a lot of times they would just walk up and start talking to us. We were posting online to come talk to us, pictures of the whiteboard. So that was a big success. The sign-up sheet worked. And we attracted a lot of people from different, like really different skill sets, different backgrounds, different interests.
Yeah. I think Anne was like from an academic background. Like, she had researched DAOs and governance, and that was her area of focus. And yeah, it was an interesting, like it was an interesting take. Even though she is like well technically versed, she focused more on the human aspect of all of these crypto projects, and it was interesting to see. Maybe you heard some of that in the short clip there.
Yeah, and definitely this human layer, this social layer, there was a lot of talk about this. Like, we're at a point in all of this decentralization stuff, in this decentralization movement, where we're getting a lot of governance discussions, a lot of talk about how humans connect and how it relates to this technology. So the people that were coming up and talking to us, a lot of those conversations were about this human side of the technology, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and she also wore the privacy is normal shirt. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome that she got that shirt, posted a picture online, and I hope you enjoy it, Anne. So then we had Joe come up to us, and Joe is a security researcher, and he's new to the game of security audit.
To getting his funds stolen, and that provoking him to kind of dig more into security research and tracing on-chain transactions, and it was an interesting take. So I hope you enjoy the clip.
Yeah, roll that clip.
The force, and security is a huge need in this space. Like, if it's going to prevail, and to be honest, it needs to be discussed more. Like, yeah, I mean, I could go on a more tangent too about it, but yeah, maybe one idea that, just like being here at DAPCON, I think it's really great, like really focused on-chain native type of folks. Like, everyone's building something really interesting, like a cool new protocol, ZKs everywhere. We're going to update the EVM, blah, blah, blah. Like, all this really fascinating tech, and I think that's 95% of what people are thinking about here. But, like, you know, security is a huge component too, and we need to make sure it's safe. I think tomorrow there's more discussions about that with SafeCon, fortunately, and in fact, I will be super interested to see how much they acknowledge, like, if the Bybit hack is discussed, and, you know, it was a part of a safe multi-sig wallet, and I'd be curious to see, what they say about it. Hopefully it's discussed. I would assume it should be the biggest hack ever. It's quite a problem for the industry, and I think people here hopefully can think about that a little more. Like, you have North Korea getting $1.5 billion. Fortunately, they haven't been able to launder it all. You know, what does that say to the industry as a whole? Like, we're all in our little bubble here a little bit, and it depends what your intent is. If you want crypto and blockchain to go to the masses and be adopted by everyone in the world and all this stuff, like, this community should be mindful of how the outside world from our little bubble here is perceiving the industry. And if you're just, you know, given opportunity to actors like North Korea to get all this money, like, it might not last long. So hopefully that's just my little thing to get out there in the airways for people to think about a bit more. So
Yeah, definitely. Back to this personal security stuff.
yeah, you know, use your hard wallet, Ledger, whatever ones else that's out there these days. For those that you want on a hot wallet using a DeFi protocol or something like this, or simple payments, just keep, you know, a small portion of your savings on there. Don't keep all of it, that's for sure. Those are just simple practical steps that I can think of. Always check an address, never never just click anything. Yeah, always check stuff. There are some cool products out there now where you can, like, scan an address too, just to make sure it's safe, because, you know, I've even since then been a bit paranoid with, like, airdrops and things like this. But there are some tools. Something called, like, AML bot comes to mind. They even just have something that's, like, through Telegram, you can just paste an address and it will give a profile of that address and tell you if it's safe or not, depending on the backend that they have. But that's a whole little scene that's developing too, I think, and that's going to be real useful for, you know, for people who aren't here at DAPCON who are, like, super crypto native. So hopefully, you know, if your grandma gets into crypto and, you know, she has these safe tools that she can use to keep it safe. So anyways, those are some practical things that come to mind. Yep.
And we're back.
Hello.
Hey, so that was Joe, who told a story about his security auditing and gave some tips. And we have longer conversations. All of these clips are from much longer discussions and conversations where we get kind of people's background stories, their interests, their motivations. And their interests and motivations are vastly different when you're at a 2-week-long event that attracts, I don't even know how many people, 100,000 or something. It's a lot.
Yeah. From security research and online tracing, or yeah, on-chain tracing, to Marcio, who we spoke to, and he's involved in provenance of food. So like tracing food from its source to your dinner plate. And yeah, we had an interesting conversation with him. He was discussing like how his machines work, how he would freeze dry food so that it would last longer and create a more efficient like feed chain.
Yeah, that's what it's called, right? Feed chain.
Right. So yeah, we spoke with him, and again, it was just like a delight to come across so many use cases. Like it's not ZK week, it was blockchain week, and just coming across all the different ways that people are using blockchains to ultimately like help people and improve society. So yeah, coming up is our interview with Marcio.
Vertical of it, right? So we were talking about the broken food chain.
Right.
So we're creating feed chain, a chain that accounts every ingredient as to feed people. So everything we recover from a broken feed chain has to be registered.
Right.
And it has to be accredited. So I already registered in a normal software that belongs to me, but I want to get naked in front of everyone. So I put a layer of blockchain that accreditates all the points of data. It's irreversible and it cannot be manipulated. So I'm creating this big global grid of recovering food losses, but anyone that wants to adhere to us knows that this is transparent. There's no more cheating around this. This is a project that brings that layer of transparency. The end purpose is, so I already have my own products in the market, right? If you scan one of my products, you have a QR. In this QR, you can see the origin of the product. You can see when it was transformed, what technology was used, but more important, something that I think is a revolution for the world. It will tell you if it's environmental friendly. So a very simple system of red, yellow, and green lights, like a traffic light, that if it's in red, you as a consumer, you may like it very much, but you have to be aware that this is not sustainable for the planet. If it's in yellow, then the principles that make the transformation are already neutral as to the environment. And if it's green, it's actually a sustainable product. Now, if you notice that in the last years, all the products have this Nutri-Score, A, B, C, D. When you see a package in the supermarket, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Does that ring the bell to you, that you saw like A letter, B letter, C, D, and grids of colors? That's the Nutri-Score of the product you are buying.
Right.
Now, it's super curious because you haven't noticed it that much. I noticed because I'm in the food chain, but most of the people don't. You know why? Because it didn't catch our generation. But it catches the generation that comes behind us, my kids. They're the ones looking at the Nutri-Score.
Right.
They're the ones telling me, why are you buying a C Nutri-Score when it's A?
Yeah.
Because they're born with this education. So if we now create a system of traffic light that is easy for kids, for the new generation to interpret in our products, therefore they will push, as consumers, the
More
industry
towards.
to go to this direction.
Yeah.
Instead of forcing from outside, you force from the consumer end.
Yeah, so bottom up versus top down.
Exactly. And
towards, yeah.
the whole point is that when we collect these food losses, we accreditate this data, so we have carbon credits. These carbon credits can be claimed by the consumer. They accumulate carbon credits, and then they can exchange that for products for themselves, or they can choose a sort of polka dot parachains, which is NGOs. They can choose which one to donate to and make sure that it's traceable till the delivery endpoint.
Can I ask, okay, so there's this feed chain, and it's meant for transparency and accountability. Is it an open blockchain that any other company can join this network and also produce their history, like from the source to like the consumer?
Exactly. So the advantage I have as Essence Food is that I can try this platform without needing any external input. I have the source, I have the transformation, I have the product. So I will make sure there is no leaks, there is no way to hack it. There is always humans that try to manipulate things. So I first want to test it very well,
Yep.
and then release the product for everyone to adhere to. This is not a product just for us internally, but instead of going out there and find out why it's not working, we will test it, make sure it's working, make sure why people adhere and not adhere, go through all these benchmarks, and then the product is something that should serve the food economy.
And just
So these events are really diverse in the people that are attending, and there's a massive diversity in the actual like event content throughout these 2 weeks. It was something like 300 events, including meetups, big conferences like DAPCON, and parties, a lot of parties. We didn't go to any of them.
a couple of raves.
A couple of raves, also didn't make it to those. There's live streams of some of them that you can find. Blockspetty, I believe, was live streaming some of their DJs. So it was a lot of different events going on, and this was really a cool thing that we saw happen through the course of these events, was that we would see a lot of the same people at multiple events. Our path that we chose through blockchain weeks was very carefully planned, and a lot of other folks had made similar plans, especially Protocolberg. It was, I think, like the big hit event. It was the one that people were excited about. This is also the crew, the Department of Decentralization puts on ETH Berlin. So we've got this awesome free poster that they gave us for ETH Berlin for Identity Crisis, which was last summer, I believe. They switched these off with Protocolberg and then ETH Berlin. As long as they can keep doing them. It's really an incredible event, incredible crew, and that was a highly attended event. So my point in this is that we saw people at the events multiple times, and the first person we actually had a conversation with in the recording station was Fraser, who talked to us about Farwin, Farcaster mini app used to generate, gamify donations to different causes. And they haven't had any causes that have used this yet. It's still like in early release. So really Farwin, the group, which is a group of 3 devs, I believe, are the ones who have been testing it. It's pretty cool. I encourage you to check it out. It's far.win. I think you can find it there. And so we talked to Fraser about this on the first day of funding the commons. It was the first day of us doing the recording station. And a very cool conversation. And we made a new friend. And he ended up contacting me during DAPCON and said, I have a friend here who is doing a really cool thing, and she wants to come and talk to you in the recording station and get the message out about this thing. So Lena is creating a art camp for war-fatigued children in Ukraine. And like I get kind of like worked up when I think about it, because it's such a touching project. And they are getting dozens of children to this event, to a venue in Ukraine, in the beautiful countryside out there.
Carpathians
in the mountains, and they're using they have artists, art teachers, art therapists who will work with the children, and they'll feed them and house them, and in the end they'll create some gallery and an exhibition for it. So it was really an honor to have Lena join us, and it really speaks to like the power of community in the way that the whole thing took shape. And we'll release the full video in order to hopefully generate some hype for Lena's project.
Yeah.
Such an important project, and there are these types of things that happen, these types of projects that happen in the tech scene, in the tech space, and we had the opportunity to chat with Lena. So we'll play a little bit of that clip, and you can kind of get an idea for this project. And yeah, try not to cry.
And action.
Okay.
Okay. Joining you once again from DAPCON in Berlin in the beautiful setting. And thanks very much to ZKAV and Ryan and the team for hosting this again.
Everything is fine.
The topic of this short interview is about the Farwin fundraising mini app on Farcaster, running on Base blockchain, and introducing the first project, real cause that it is going to help to support. So that's the more interesting part, and I will jump straight to Elena for an introduction. Let's start with a bit about who you are, especially with a focus on art and why it's important to you, and then just in the same part, just jump into the camp and what it is and so on.
Okay, so my name is Lena. I'm an art management student, and
That's all right. There's no second takes. You just have to keep
Oh,
winging
no.
it. Yeah.
okay.
So a bit about the camp.
So MIST Camp is the art residency for kids, mostly for teenagers aged from 12 to 17 years old. It's a place where kids are gonna get together for 10 days and work on the art exhibition in the end of the camp. They're gonna work with different artists and art therapists,
Yeah.
and in the end they're gonna create the exhibition where they're gonna show their experience and share their stories.
Yeah.
So you're talking about this art camp, and you have artists joining and art therapists.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about what are these folks bringing to the camp? What will they be doing there, working with their children?
Yeah, so we have Svetlana. She's a very experienced art therapist and an artist herself, and she's working with kids for over 15 years. And she's gonna work on art therapy, phototherapy, storytelling with kids. She's gonna also create an art installation for final exhibition with kids. Also we have Maria, who is an artist. She's gonna teach kids how to draw, paint, and all of this stuff. Also we have Katya, who is a singer and musician. She's gonna work in music field with kids. She's gonna make songs with them, sing, and all of this stuff. Also we have me. I'm gonna curate the final exhibition of the artworks of kids, and I'm just gonna take care of them, like make sure they are clean, fitted, and that everything's alright.
So that was Lena, and the app will be Farwin on Farcaster.
Yeah, it'll be a way to contribute to it there on Farcaster, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, please support the cause. And next we will be talking about Lena, a different one.
Another Lena.
And yes, she is from Self Protocol on CeeLo Network, and yeah, the project's self app is Zk Identity, and that has been a big theme throughout the entire 2 weeks plus. Has been Zk Identity, and we've seen this. We spoke with Human Tech, who are at Funding the Commons, and there was a Web3 Privacy Now presentation by Yingtong on Zk Identity, and we spoke with Lena. And so yeah, it's been really interesting to learn more about this. It's something that will definitely, you're going to be seeing a lot more about it over the coming months and years. And so yeah.
Zk Identity was one of the big topics, and it seems like one of the main use cases that people are exploring right now and putting into their projects. There's a lot of other ZK stuff happening, and we'll get into that. Wanted to show you some of the more diverse ideas and the diverse people in the community and what they're working on, these communities that are here. So we started with those clips, and now we'll get to the meat of it and all of this ZK stuff that we all came for. And yeah, the Zk Identity was definitely a big deal.
Pleasure.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
But yeah, and I think the other thing is really like airdrops and like
Right.
any kind of token distributions. I think so many protocols have issues. Like now you have like, even for GitHub, like I'm a DevRel and we have so many bots contributing to our docs or like to something, and then they will do airdrop farming, you know, and to just like verify that only people that are actual humans get rewarded. At one point we might want to reward an AI agent, but like for now.
Proof of humanity.
Exactly.
Yeah, proof of being human. And there's also this Sybil attack problem where, like, if you want one person to have one vote, but you don't want to have to ask for their government ID, like, this is a really common problem in decentralized.
So yeah, we met Lena, and she basically just walked up to the recording station and asked what we were doing, and yeah, we had interesting conversation, and we learned what she was doing. And similarly, just a side conversation I was having with some people next to the recording station turned into a short interview. We spoke with Max, and he was explaining his project. It was a hackathon project, which I thought we just had to get recorded and documented. Yeah, he was working on ZK loyalty, and I found it fascinating that he employed FHE and ZK. It was for something that was genuinely useful for small businesses. And so, yeah, next up we have a clip with Max.
Awesome. Play that clip.
Hello. Thank you for joining the ZKAV Club. What's your name?
Max.
Hi, Max. We were just talking like 5 minutes ago, and his project was really cool. I think it was for a hackathon. Could you tell us a bit more about what you built? And yeah, give us an idea of what you built.
Okay, yeah, basically it's called ZK Loyalty, and it's an anonymous loyalty program that is meant to reward repeat customers, like also for small businesses especially, because the repeated customers are like the basically main income of every store. And it's way harder to acquire new customers, and especially for small businesses, it's hard to actually implement this this infrastructure or like this applications, because it's they don't have the the required technical skills, for example.
Yeah. So it's easy for people to implement. That means it's on a public blockchain, perhaps. It would be like a smart contract thing. Which chain would it be on?
So for the hackathon, we used different technologies, but in this state, what is now, we could use this on Arbitrum. There is one technology which is called Semaphore, which gives us the feature of that we can add people to specific groups, or like they can prove that they are part of a group. And the other component would be FHE. It's there's like a co-FHE library also on Arbitrum available. And basically with these two components, what we can do is that, for example, you go to a store, they show you a QR code, and then you scan it with your app, and then they add you to their as a customer in the group, and there's like no connection between it. You just prove that you are the customer, and then you can with FHE encrypt the address and the balance that you have and do calculations with it.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
So for people who might not be aware, FHE, fully homomorphic encryption.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
my understanding was that this is many years away, but apparently there's libraries that you're already using.
Yes, it's possible. Yeah, with Zama was called, I think. I don't know if it changed now the name, but something like that. And they have libraries for that, and you can.
All right, so that was Max, and it was really cool that Squirrel he was just talking to him off to the side. The two of them, I noticed they were sitting on the other side of a tree that we had the recording station set up next to. This wasn't the first time, I think, where I saw you talking to someone and I'd wander over and be like, you guys should take this into the recording station.
I know. Yeah. It starts off camera. Yeah, and it was just an awesome opportunity to learn something new. And what was even like cooler was that at a totally different event, we spoke with Zk Lumi, who I think is the head of product at Arbitrum.
Yep, sounds right.
Senior product manager at Arbitrum, and it was like just brilliant to bring up what Max was talking about, because his project was deployed on Arbitrum, and now I'm speaking with the head of product at Arbitrum. It was like a great opportunity to dig further into it. And so, yeah, like attending these different events, meeting these different people has like led to the next great conversation. So next up is ZK Lumi discussing fully homomorphic encryption on Arbitrum. Check it out. Real-time proving.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so I recently spoke with someone who built it was like a hackathon, I think it was ETHDAM, and their team built a ZK loyalty thing, which was on Arbitrum, and it used FHE, or I think he said co-FHE. And so, yeah, would you mind explaining what that is and how Arbitrum is kind of, I think it's the first time I've heard of like an application actually using FHE in the wild.
Yeah, so fully homomorphic encryption, FHE, is an interesting new field of cryptography, similar to ZK was, right? And Off-Chain Labs, so that's where I work, we have our partner investment side called Tandem. And Tandem invested in a company called Phoenix, and Phoenix are the ones that build co-FHE, so a FHE coprocessor. So basically that allows you to just make a developer to build this capability of privacy into their smart contracts. In the way, like, how should I go into how FHE actually, because that's
by all means.
So without going into like mathematics, right? Basically, let's say that I send you, I don't know, a math problem, right? And it's, let's say it's 4 plus 5, and then I want you to give me the answer. But now I encrypt it. So now I just mix it up. You can't read it. You don't see 4 plus 5, or you don't see the equation. How are you supposed, and then I give you this jumbled up mess. How are you supposed to give me an answer, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, so you can't, right? Because it's shuffled up, it's encrypted. You need to decrypt it. But at that point, you would see the math problem. Maybe I don't want you to see it for whatever reason. FHE is this weird special type of cryptography that actually would allow you to get the result without ever seeing what you're computing on. So you can compute on encrypted data.
Okay.
So in the transaction context, like you can process a transaction for me, or some secret that you can process for me as a coprocessor without ever seeing what you're processing for me, and then you send back the answer.
I see. And so does it only work with like math problems?
No. You can do payments on it. You can do like anything that you want privacy for, right? So you can prove something about someone's identity. You can take someone's healthcare records and see, does this person have certain traits that might match to certain types of cancer that we're studying in this academic context without us getting your entire medical history. Like privacy,
Yeah, those are the interesting applications that I hope Arbitrum can support at sometime soon.
Yeah, the other thing that for privacy, it's a bad, like people give it bad context or bad meaning, right? The reality is like we need privacy in our life. It's built in, right? You couldn't use Amazon if you couldn't do private payments. If you release your credit card information to everyone, they use encryption, right? No bank in the world can operate on blockchain if there's no privacy. Like they have to have their customer data hidden, and they can reveal it to the government, but you can't see everyone's transaction. Like we have to have privacy on blockchain to support enterprise applications. So FHE is one of the ways that you could, for example, compute data for a bank to process transactions of its clients.
So we changed venues. Now with this last clip that we showed you, we were at ZK Hack. And ZK Hack was definitely one of the events that really triggered the idea to do this recording station. I've been talking with Department of Decentralization about Protocolberg the longest. Like I took the idea to them first back in like November, December, started talking with their team. And ZK Hack was very close on like my contact list. I needed to get a hold of them, couldn't figure out how to get a hold of them, and then ended up getting contact through one of the venue organizers, and got contact with Quentin, who was amazing. And they, as soon as they figured out what we were trying to do and who we were, they opened the doors to us. They gave us this opportunity to host the recording station in a hackathon which for me is like, it's an ideal place for these recording stations. It's unique that the ZKAV Club has this opportunity. And like I was in multiple events, like with Protocolberg and with ZK Hack, they don't really let media crews in. Like a production company can't say they're going to make a documentary about ZK and go to ZK Hack and expect to be able to film anything. So it was because of who we are, the way that we presented ourselves and our project, that they opened the doors to us. So like to Quentin and Anna Rose, like thank you so much for this opportunity, to the whole crew at ZK Hack, and again to all of the event organizers that were so welcoming.
Thank you, Quentin.
Yeah, ZK Hack was amazing. And it's another event where they told us afterwards, like, we want you to be involved in more of our stuff that we're doing. I think every event told me this.
Yep.
So like the doors are open and we're not going to slow down. We don't do anything small, as you've just seen. In less than 14 days, I think we did, I don't even know how many days of work, 12, 13
I think,
days
yeah,
of work in a
I
row.
can only remember one day off.
Yeah, it was intense. And the team, you all did amazing jobs. It's going to get easier from here. Like this was a lot of like last minute kind of things coming together. And like Squirrel said to me on one day, like it's just win after win after win, and that makes it really hard to stop.
Yeah.
When we would be asking these events if we could do what we want to do, and then like they'd get back to us, and at first it was like kind of slow them getting back to us, but when they did, it was all in, and they were super excited. It got us really excited. We kept going. In fact, at ZK Hack, I was talking to the crew from Noir, from the Aztec language that's used to do ZK tooling now. And they mentioned NoirCon, and they said, we wish that you would have been there. And we had registered there, and I was going to reach out to them, but it was our first planned day off after like 5-6 days of work, because we had the prep day, and then 2 days of funding the commons, 2 days of Protocolberg, Decentralized Media Summit. And then, we did actually, we had a day off there.
Yep.
And then DAPCON started, and that was 3 days. And then NoirCon was supposed to be the day after that. And it was just like, oh man, like we wish we could have done it, and we'll be there next time. Absolutely. So we'll with like figure out how the team stuff works, because we can't do everything.
Yeah. Maybe more team members and we could like rotate or something. Yeah, but speaking of Noir Lang, we were approached by Guillaume, and he is involved in like actually writing the things that go into the language that make the apps. It was a really dense discussion.
It was. And he was at the hackathon to actually do something to the programming language, to propose changes to the programming language that a lot of the other hackers were using to create applications with.
Yeah, like the fundamental, well, not the cryptographic primitives, I don't think, but yeah, people who are involved at the levels which aren't usually seen, or people don't usually find the information on, like how are these things really being built. So super interesting discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. He had a lot of background on Rust, and so we had a chance to talk to him about the importance of Rust in Web3, in ZK, and now where it's going with Noir. So let's check out that clip.
Believer in the Noir language, because it's a language that is high level and also dedicated to ZK. So I think if we think about it, it might be the best way to write efficient code in ZK. But for Noir, one of the limitations is that it compiles down to a circuit, so that you can only have finite loops. And to make it a general purpose programming language, like for example Kero and or Rust, you need to have embodied loops. And this is something I want to work on, using the recursive primitive in Noir that allows you to repeat a circuit and see how I can combine that with, for example, a while loop primitive that can get compiled automatically to an equivalent Noir program that is using recursivity. I think it would enable people to write smart contract, more complex smart contract and there are a few other languages, for example Go, it's the GNAC library. For the circuits, often it's DSL, for example, CIRCOM. But even if CIRCOM is DSL on its own, it's implemented in Rust. Noir is implemented in Rust also. So at the end of the day, a lot of code is Rust, and if you really want to formally verify the whole stack, you have to get into Rust verification. It might be the most important thing to do to truly verify ZK.
And
so for today, for the hackathon, it's not formal verification. It's more enabling new programming constructs for Noir, but it's related also in the sense that we look at the language itself. So formal verification is very related to a field of compilers, because you need to manipulate code and be able to interpret it. So and I think also if we have better programming constructs for zero knowledge, if we can write, for example, a whole ZKVM in Noir, it will also simplify the story of formal verification, because it will be a much higher level language, so it will be quicker to verify.
Yes, that was Wiam.
And going from someone who's attending the hackathon in order to propose changes to the programming language that's being used for the tooling that the other hackers are using, this is like so deep in the technical nitty gritty of what's going on. And like earlier, we were showing clips that were more in the humanitarian work, and this is just to show the breadth of the topics that we talked about, and the diversity of the people and the ideas. It was really cool.
And hopefully this will also translate to our audience. So like we've had these super technical people, and that discussion, when it's released, will definitely appeal to the cryptographers and the super brainiacs. But yeah, perhaps some of the more relatable for me discussions that I had were around like how like these applications, which are easy to use, can like genuinely help people. One of the conversations was with Dana, and she works with a team that created an app, I think for a hackathon, and this app allows whistleblowers to release information in a privacy preserving way. Like they can have their anonymity, and the journalists or whoever they provide the information to can verify that they did indeed come from a certain organization. And so yeah, that was it was a really, really good discussion, and check it out. Definitely. So Privacy Hackathon, were there any cool projects that you saw there? Anything worth mentioning? Something, people would be interested to learn about?
Yeah, so apart, obviously I want to just say that most of the other projects were very high quality projects, and there was a lot of interesting conversations going around. My project specifically, we utilized zero knowledge in order to create a secure whistleblowing platform that we're very proud of. So we started, it was just me and this other guy that we met over there. And I had to learn over the weekend how to do an entire front end. So I had to do the UI, the UX, figure out user journey problems. And it led us down a very beautiful journey where we're now talking to certain teams that also read about the project and are interested in having conversations. One of the highlights was that we could come up with a product that is specific for consumers. And obviously at ZK Hack, you'll see that it's more actually in the back end, like the infra and setting the foundations for what we can do down the line in terms of scalability and verifiability. With ours, we thought, okay, there is already existing languages, as you said, and there's already existing verifiers and different platforms. How can we utilize that to actually create something that anyone could use and would be for the greater good?
Yeah. Whistleblowing app. So this is a scenario like Edward Snowden, where he finds out like the government is doing things that they shouldn't, they're not authorized to do, and he collects that information and he gives it to a journalist. In that situation, he put his life on the line, his family maybe, and he had to escape the country. And he became a fugitive. I think he still is a fugitive. And so, yeah, how does this app that you've created, like, how does it resolve this issue of putting people at risk?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, historically, the key issue with whistleblowing was that people were either losing their lives, as in with the Panama Papers, or they would have to seek refugee and asylum in different countries because they were being persecuted by the governments in the countries where they were doing the whistleblowing. This is where we thought that, okay, there is a truth gap, right? You want the journalists to be able to have some sort of level of credibility in the information they're being exposed to. They don't want to waste their time either on having to, go out of their way to follow up on leads that are not leading to anything. And on the other side, you want the whistleblower to be ensured that their anonymity is being preserved in order to secure their livelihood
Safety.
and also their jobs. You don't want, because you never know how long it's going to take for some action to happen. And this is where we thought that, okay, there's those two problems, right? So what would be one of the first steps to go about it? The way that the platform works is that you would have to connect your wallet, a stealth wallet in this case. We're still brainstorming on a roadmap where it could be programmable, like a programmable wallet where we would issue it, and then people wouldn't have to worry about whether they have to create a brand new wallet or use one that can be traced back to them. For right now, users connect their wallet and then they have to upload an EML file, which basically we're using Noir to attest that the person is from a certain organization. So it adds a first layer of credibility. Let's say that you are from, I don't know. Google, yeah, great example. So it would attest that it would verify through Zk email that the DKIM signature is from Google, and then you can submit your whistleblow, and it goes on chain, and that's it. Now, in order to add another layer of credibility to this platform, we've also allowed for users that are from the same organization, let's say Google, or anyone that works with Google, let's say contractors, utilizing their emails, they can attest to that information, and that also goes on chain. So you have the security of anonymity, and then you also have the attestation, which means that people that also are aware about this could attest to that information, and it all goes on chain, so it can't be corrupted down the line because it has the timestamps, and then once the submission goes on chain, we utilize ZK Verify, and then we use Arbitrum testnet to test it out and deploy it.
Wow, that's incredible. Awesome conversation with Dana.
That was super cool.
Yep.
I love seeing these newcomers into hackathons delivering these very human projects and really adding something new to the whole ecosystem. Before the conversation, she mentioned that was her first hackathon.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it's really, really cool to have the opportunity to talk to so many people about technical things in a non-technical way, and just coming at it from different directions, different perspectives. And that was really what we were trying to do in these conversations. You can dig into the technical details of this stuff if you're interested. There's plenty of places to find more to read or videos where the tech is being presented. But we wanted to take the opportunity to get to know the people and help them to explain what they're working on, who they are, and tell their story.
I know.
And I think it was successful.
ZK whistleblowing, ZK identity. There was food chain provenance. There was donations through Filecaster. There was all kinds of things which we covered, and it was also a nice opportunity to have Zcash represented in all these different places as well. So thank you to everyone who made this possible.
Yeah, definite big time thanks. ZK Therapy, that's yes. our sign at ZK Hack. We wanted to give people the opportunity to to come and tell us about the problems that they're stuck on. No one really took us up on this. We were pretty early in the hackathon, but I like this idea of someone talking through their problem with a sympathetic ear to listen, and then coming up with the solution. And so it was actually Quentin at ZK Hack who was like, oh, you mean like therapy? ZK therapy. So we put that on the sign, file an issue, and we're definitely going to bring that back. I think it's a helpful thing for these hackers.
For sure. And we will be back
Yep.
soon.
But we have more. We have a lot more. Well, a little bit more for you. The shielded camera, the shielded anon camera was a big hit. This was something that we kind of threw together in the last days before funding the Commons. It's an ASCII camera. It's in GitHub. It's open source. It runs in the browser using HTML5 video tag and your webcam or whatever camera you have in there. There are other options to do something like this. You can do it in the terminal. John Bruling was messing with some of these and playing with them over the last 2 years, and we thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of deploy a different kind of AV experiment since we do a lot of different stuff. And we had this out at all of the different events. Does that?
You can't see it.
No, it doesn't do anything. We had this out at all the different events. And at ZK Hack, we actually put it down at the end of the hall next to the sign, the whiteboard that we had. And so when people walked around the corner towards our station, they would see this video that's all turned into ASCII. And it was a big hit.
Yeah.
The next step is to get the audio completely anonymous. So there wouldn't be a voice recorded at all, but rather a transcript that would then be read back by an AI voice in real time, hopefully. I think we're getting close to this.
Yeah. AI Zuko voice for everyone. Maybe.
Yeah, it's an option soon, I think. Yeah, so we'll be playing with the anonymous shielded cam more, and we can teach you all how to do it. Speaking of teaching, it's a big part of what we do at ZKAV Club. We're learning, we're teaching, we're learning, and while we're teaching, it's a lot of chaos that ends up in a lot of new knowledge. And we present this knowledge in a monthly live stream series that we have called Foundry. The next one is on Friday, and if you want to know more about the recording station, the methodologies, the ideologies, the philosophies, everything behind of what went into creating this recording station and deploying it at these events, it's not an easy thing to do, and it took a lot of strategy and a lot of years of experience went into making the decisions that we made on all sides. So we will talk more about the recording station and help you to empower you to get out and do it in your own communities, for your own communities, with your own communities, because it's all about teaching folks how to document their own community, because only communities can document themselves.
Absolutely. So this would actually be great for all the Zcash ambassadors to jump in on. It's a very, very powerful tool which you can use, and Ryan will be showing you how to do it yourself. So yeah, please check it out. Join the Foundry session.
Foundry is on Friday. I think it's at 17 o'clock, 1700 UTC on Friday, and we'll be live streaming that. We'll be showing some clips that we made behind the scenes stuff so you can see some of how we set it up. And then we'll produce a workshop that we've already shot some of in doing all of this setup. And we'll get more into the technical how-to with the equipment that we had. And then we'll open up the workshops. We have community-led workshops as a part of Foundry now. And you can earn 5 Zk by doing a workshop in your own language, teaching people how to do what you do in the same line as what we're teaching. So in this case, how would you do a recording station in your own community with what you have, and what would you need in order to do that? Teaching that in a workshop according to some guidelines that we'll be publishing. You can earn 5 Zk. And we have the Zcash in Espanol community doing this already. Zcash Brazil is also joined in this process. So the recording station workshop is coming up, produced by the Foundry core team. And look for the discussion about the recording station on Friday. You can get all sorts of more details in the technical side and the community building effects of this.
For sure. The idea is the community documenting itself. And so yeah, this is super important. Would love to see Zcash Nigeria, Zcash Turkey, RU Zcash maybe, Zcash Ukraine jump in on this and yeah, learn new skills. Like myself, during the entire couple of days, I've learned a bunch of things. He's very knowledgeable and he's been doing this a very long time, and you can gain new skills.
Using decentralized and open source tech,
Yep.
which it's still being built, so we're like early adopters on this, and it's also a cool feeling. And privacy is at the center of it. Like the idea of a community documenting itself is that the community controls the content, the community controls the archives, and uploading all of your community videos to YouTube, for example, might not be ideal for all communities. We're going to put this stuff on Internet Archive under Creative Commons fair use, and so anyone can get to it. This is because this community that we've been documenting, it likes this idea, and this is kind of our default. But a lot of the communities that we are working with and that we look forward to working with in the future have different needs. And so we can use decentralized and open source tech to ensure that they have the privacy that they need in creating these archives and this content.
Without using Google.
Yes, very, very important. Let's get away from the Google. Don't feed the Google. Don't look at the Google. Don't talk to the Google. So we're going to wrap this up. And again, like big thanks to the event organizers, Funding the Commons, Protocolberg, the Decentralized Media Summit, DAPCON, ZK Hack. I feel like I'm missing something just because it was so much going on, and I'm so grateful to these teams. We communicated with other teams, and I'm grateful that people were so willing to reach out to us, that they see what we're doing.
Yep.
And it's a really cool feeling. So we couldn't cover everything we wanted to, but there are a lot of other opportunities. We will be doing this again. And the attendees who joined us, it was really great. Like, you made this possible in the fact that, like, you made it work. Like, we can get out there and set up, and if no one wants to talk to us, then, like, it wouldn't have worked.
Right. Thank you to the people that joined us.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Yeah.
Thanks to Zcash. Giant thanks to Zcash community. We come from this community. We met within this community. I've been supporting this community in a lot of ways for a long time, and the same with Squirrel has done a lot of different sort of contributions for Zcash for quite a while.
Yeah, and it was cool to meet like Zcashers who we don't know. We met new Zcashers, many of whom like did development work, and I'd just never heard of them. It's pretty cool to see. And like even people from different projects who are familiar with Zcash and were testing out Zashi, and there are a lot of cool things that were happening. Yeah, there's like more play.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we focused on the ZK community. We focused on the events where the builders, the community builders, the project managers, the DevRel folks, everyone working in ZK, and it does take a village to do stuff like this. It takes all sorts of different people. Cypherpunks write code, yes, but we also do a bunch of other stuff. And we had the opportunity to meet them, and they all knew about Zcash. They were all supporters of Zcash in the technology that it created, and wishing this community well. And so getting the support of the Zcash community given back to us in this way, and really seeing that like there's love there, there's massive support, and it really is going to go back into us doing this more. So we have some stuff lined up, and this was just the first time, and it worked. And it's, as far as prototypes go, I think we nailed it.
It was a success.
Yes, and but because of everyone out there, because of the event organizers, because of the attendees that talked to us, because of Zcash for showing us in a monetary way that this is important. And if you're watching and you think like, this is important, I didn't have a chance to support them, I didn't have a chance to do any of this, and you really want to, then go to ZKAV.club, and you can find our contribution addresses down there at the bottom so you can donate. And we'd be really grateful if you did. We'll be making announcements on what we're working on next. There's a lot of talk about Argentina. And then there's another project that will come around the same time of the year. And there's also some opportunities in Brazil connected to the DWeb community, which is really where this idea came from, the recording station, the idea of communities documenting themselves and the education angle and everything. It comes from my background with the DWeb community, so we'll continue to build those bridges. And we'll also be doing a workshop on Thursday, the 3rd, so a week from this next Thursday. I'll be doing a workshop with some DWeb folks and someone from Internet Archive, a friend, Arkady, who is the head of decentralization tech at Internet Archive. So we'll have a chance to explore how to upload many large video files to Internet Archive, because we have that.
Yep.
There's no doubt, and it can be a real pain. So we're going to play around with the command line, figure out how to upload all this stuff to Internet Archive, work with anyone who wants to join the workshop. And we'll have a chance to talk to Arkady about what Internet Archive is doing with decentralized tech, how they're decentralizing their massive stores of data.
Yeah, very much needed. And yeah, so join the Discord, discord.gg/Zcash. And there is a channel where you can view everything that's going on at the Zk Audiovisual Club.
And if you do that and you want an invite into the ZKAV Club Discord, just post that you want an invite. We'll create it and put it up there. There is no like permanent invite. The Discord server is kind of like back office sort of stuff. You know, we're a club. There's like some fun and secrecy, but all you have to do is ask. So reach out to us. Go to the Zcash Discord. You can find the ZKAV Club channel that's bridged there. We'll get you an invite. ZKAV.club. You can read all about what we do. We'll be updating that soon with a bunch of new information based on what we've learned here during Berlin Blockchain Week. And again, thank you, everyone. Thank you to the crew. John at home, thank you so much. We miss you. We wish you didn't have to leave so soon, but we know that you'll be working on recording stations again with us. Rabmar, amazing work this entire time. Freaking rock star over here. Zero Darts and Squirrel, your backup, your support, all of the work that you all did, like this couldn't have happened without each and every one of you. So
yep. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. And yeah, we'll be sharing a lot more of the stuff that we've been working on over the next couple of weeks.
Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Awesome. Thank you.